Hello everyone, it is I, the Obsessive Gamer. Remember that one 28-bit console many of your friends may have called Kitty? Well, it had very amazing games on it. Very amazing games on it. And I plan to tell you the top 10 best games on the Nintendo GameCube. So how do you start the next-gen Nintendo console? Mario platformer, right? How about a Luigi survival horror? Wait, what? Yeah, number 10 is Luigi's Mansion, which is Luigi's finally getting his own game. You do not exist, Mario is missing, even though this game has Mario missing. The game is Nintendo tackling the survival horror genre with Luigi, minus the tank controls and the blood and the zombies. Mansion exploration is so well done, from the solving of puzzles using your vacuum to defeating of certain ghosts in this quest to try to rescue Mario before the morning. Of course, the sequel has been screwed up because it went mission mode, and that's how the Metal Gear franchise was also screwed up with portable ops, and that's a game Kojima wished didn't exist yet continue that trend of mission mode all the way till Metal Gear Solid 5. Speaking of Metal Gear, let's talk about the remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 at number 9. Yeah, it won't surprise me that a bunch of you are already hating this list because I have this on, but this was a really well made game. It was my first Metal Gear Solid game, I admit, and quite frankly it did an excellent job executing it. It took an already well-made MGS2 engine and remade Metal Gear Solid 1 with it. It did have its issues where, for example, they didn't use the far superior soundtrack from the MGS1 PS1 version, and the boss fights overall were easier. But from the AI of the guards and simply the new stealth mechanics, it was done fantastically. Let alone, you now saw those beautiful cutscenes and the MGS2 graphics. Yes, I know some of you hate the rocket jump that Snake does, but there are far weirder shit in MGS2 and MGS4 for me to make this a negative. Remember when Ubisoft was more than just Assassin's Creed? Well, I hope you do, because they made these amazing games called the Prince of Persia games. They took a once-dead series and decided to re-revolutionize the series with a very stylized form of platforming through ancient palaces and areas, as well as a fairy tale-like story about an entire Persian army and people in a palace turning into zombies, and amazing graphics and soundtrack. Not only that, but unlike the old games, this one is nowhere near as punishing due to the fact that you can rewind time using your dagger of time to fix your mistakes, and better yet, you are limited to do so, since it would make the game too easy, unlike Prince of Persia 2008, where you have the inability to lose, the game that pretty much killed the series that this once amazing game revived. Nowadays, Ubisoft seems to care about stupid shit like Assassin's Creed, which was maybe amazing during the second game, and then turned to this mess called Unity. Remember when we wanted to play those games with Marth and Roy? Well, many of us sure had it at that point, but it didn't matter because we got fucking Ike with Path of Radiance, which is also the first 3D Fire Emblem. Sacred Stones I found to be a disappointment originally in comparison to the first GBA one, but this one, in my opinion, brought it back to form. What I found amazing was that it felt like such a deep adventure with how much they had to travel, and as Ike wasn't even royalty and was instead out to try to create a better tomorrow, rather than simply being an ousted prince, that is. And he was maybe also out to get revenge for his father's bloodiless death. Regardless, this game featured a lot of staple features, from out-of-battle support conversations to the return of abilities, where we got the amazing Aether ability. Ah yes, the series that got popular on a Nintendo console only to jump to Sony. That's right, we're talking about Tales of Symphonia. Like many others, this was my first intro into the series, and I was simply blown away by its quality. The story started out like the pilgrimage of Final Fantasy X, but later went in a completely different direction afterwards. As well, together with an amazing and hilarious cast, such as the cliched sword boy, cliched girl who is important and shipped with sword boy, a badass, a hot girl, a mature woman who's hot but not as hot as the hot girl, a perv, a young boy, and an overly strong young girl. Seems like a cliched anime, but that doesn't matter as the battle system is so satisfying. Action RPG with the Super Smash Bros. Style button inputs to attack are what sells this game's gameplay, and altogether have become ever since among the top RPG series out there. Well, now how about a game with the actual Smash Bros. Combat? That's right, all items, Pichu only, nor fair depth. I think I got that one wrong. Anyways, being a big fan since the N64 one, this was a massive upgrade. Take the original, add a fuck ton of characters and useless clones, event matches, trophies, and so much more. Let alone this entry may have been one of the reasons why this series became so big, and people may have realized the beauty of a fighter with easy to learn mechanics and very deep gameplay mechanics at the same time. Of course, trying to get this nowadays may run you into the $80 mark, even though in my opinion Smash 4 stands up to it. I really don't see a reason to go back for other than, you know, those who like wave dashing and some of the other skills. Yeah. On most other Nintendo consoles, a Mario platformer usually ends up on the top 3 in my opinion. But the GameCube being as amazing as it is, Mario was shoved to only number 4. That and it was the worst 3D Mario game out there, in my opinion. But even though I say that, there is a reason why it is so high on this list, and it is because it is still freaking amazing. Platforming and using a water nozzle to platform was a genius idea, from simply hovering to blasting up. Also, it is so satisfying cleaning shit, and I hate cleaning shit in real life, but I love doing it here. Let alone, it is a very beautiful game. As well, we have the return of Yoshi's, even though they melt in water for some reason. And you got those secret levels which may have inspired the best Mario game of all, Super Mario Galaxy. Of course, there was also the stupid, like, blue coin collecting for shine sprites. Did you know the Resident Evil series was once amazing? Yeah, and here is the last remaining main series one that was amazing. This series of survival horror games was already an amazing series with its spooky nature, exploration, puzzles, and story. Of course, I fucking hate and love the tank controls, and I don't know how that even makes sense, but this game decided to throw you over the shoulder, possibly so that the tank controls aren't such a hassle anymore. What this game does, however, that sets it apart from the later entries in the series is that it retains the horror nature and balances it with a bit more action for an amazing blend to make, in my opinion, the best Resident Evil game to date. Also, freaking Leon is in this, and I thought he was cool in Resident Evil 2, but he got even cooler. First off, I'm so sorry Wind Waker fans that I chose this over that. Second, I'm sorry that this isn't number 1 on the list, Zelda fans, but even I'm sorry to myself that it isn't number 1, as this is one of my favorite games of all time. Being a huge Ocarina of Time fan, I wanted another game in a medieval setting with a huge number of dungeons, a mature hero, a field rather than water, and this happened in 2004, where when I came home that day from school, I foamed at this E3 reveal. I love Wind Waker, but I prefer my medieval Zeldas more. Plus, it contained no Triforce hunting, more dungeons, no Tingle, 4 phases of a Ganondorf fight. It was a tad bit more difficult, even though it was still pretty easy. Also, everyone was 2-portioned. Basically, this game is Ocarina of Time perfected, and thus why Wind Waker is amongst my favorite Zelda games. Note, however, if this wasn't on the list, Wind Waker would possibly be in its place, but maybe more in third, and with Resident Evil 4 in second. Sorry Wind Waker fans, sorry Zelda fans. This was truly a tough decision. I kept saying no to myself as a Zelda fan, but the unbiased gamer in me in the end knew that this was truly the best game on the GameCube in my opinion. This wasn't my first Metroid. My first Metroid was Zero Mission and then this, but wow at this game. It did all the aspects correctly. Its gameplay was stupendous with an excellent transition from 2D to 3D, and the genius known as Miyamoto suggested that it should be in first person and thus provided an FPS setup, and yet didn't play like a shooter but more like an adventure game with a giant world to explore, solve puzzles, and figure out the mystery around cancerous Phazon, and at the same time dealing with the space pirates. Not only that, but the atmosphere is amongst one of my favorites in any video game to date. It was only the GameCube era where graphics were just starting to look nice, but yet you can really feel it as you see raindrops dropping on your visor in that atmospheric world, the various yet fitting wildlife, and the music just added upon it. The various settings alone are very creatively designed with much story to them, from the fact that the planet looks infested with Phazon, the old chosen civilization, as well as the fact that it was designed around platforming and puzzle solving throughout it without feeling like it is too much. In the end, this game also provides an amazing challenge too without feeling too ridiculous. What's more amazing is the fact that this was made by a newbie team known as Retro Studios, who nowadays to many gamers are a huge deal since they haven't made a single shitty game. Originally, I had heard about this series when playing Samus and Smash Bros. And was rather interested, but when I saw this as a kid, I wasn't interested as I didn't like FPS games and was rather turned off. That was then in regards to my opinion on FPS games. Nowadays, on the other hand...
Hello Golf, hi. I want to speak to Gabe, please. Why you ask? I want to ask him, where the fuck is Half-Life 3?
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching the Obsessive Gamer Show. Please like and subscribe, and maybe share it as well. Maybe check out my Facebook and Twitter. I also plan to have a major video out by Valentine's Day, and maybe check out one of these two videos I have down here. And thank you for watching.